art is like masturbation. It is selfish and introverted and done for you and you alone. Right? Hopefully nobody gets offended. Now design, it's like sex. There's someone else involved, their needs are just as important as your own, and if everything goes right, both parties are happy in the end. Right? So design is about solving a problem. Right? So very important to understand that design and art are not the same thing. Art is self-expression, right? And design is solving a problem. By definition, designers are problem solvers. You don't have to be an artist to be a designer. Right? So break that right away. And UX and UI are not the same thing. They're not, all those things. So we'll go through that in a second. Back in the day, Deter Rams, who's still alive and well, and is a living legend in design. He's more of an industrial designer, but the same things apply, right? So he came up with 10 principles of good design, and kind of your guiding compass when you're designing something. And I'll read his words because they're great. So number one is design. Good design is innovative, right? The possibilities for innovations are not by any means exhausted. Technological development is always offering new opportunities for innovative design, but innovative design always develops in tandem with innovative technology and can never be an end in itself. So the interesting thing is that with every generation of technology, new technology, you have a new opportunity to solve all the same old problems over and over again, right? So if you think about it, when personal computers first came out, some of the first applications were accounting packages. And that was a huge move. Well, before you had to calculate everything on paper, do it by hand. Now you can do it on the computer, and it'll do all the calculations for you. Right? Next generation, a couple of visual improvements in operating systems, from green letters on a black screen to Windows and Mac interfaces, and point and click, etc. Let's go to the internet era, right? So before you had to do it on your own computer, now you're connected to the world. It opens all sorts of opportunities, and you can solve the same old problems in new, different ways, right? Next paradigm is mobile, and that was a huge leap, a couple of orders of magnitude leap that opened a whole new world of opportunities. And the pitch is, well, before you can do it only on a computer, now you can do it in your pocket, right? So next generation is arguably wearable computing, or whatever form that will take. Right? A product is bought to be used. It has to satisfy certain criteria, not only function, but also psychological and aesthetic. Right? Good design emphasizes the usefulness of a product whilst disregarding anything that could possibly detract from it. Right? So decoration is one thing, right? But you can't let the decoration get in the way of the usability of the product. Right? That's why all the classic designs are so simple. Good design is obviously aesthetic. Right? The aesthetic quality of a product is integral to its usefulness because products we use every day affect our person and our well-being. But only well-executed objects can be beautiful. And again, that means different things in different cultures. There's different psychographics, different colors mean different things. But generally, you want to have something that's beautiful to look at. And aesthetic is also kind of a subjective thing. It's usually about simplicity, about removing extra things, right? And that leads to number 4. Good design makes a product understandable. Clarifies the product structure. Better still, it can make the product talk. At best, it is self-explanatory. So, how many of you use Macs? Okay. So when you bought your latest Mac, how many of you pulled out the manual and started reading the manual first? Yeah. Right. So that's because it doesn't exist. For those of you still stuck in the PC era, it doesn't exist. Right. It's well designed and it's self-explanatory. Right? It may have not been self-explanatory 10 years ago, right? Maybe standards changed. That's why you have to keep up to date with what the context is for the customer. Good design is unobtrusive. Products fulfilling a purpose are like tools. They are neither decorative objects nor works of art. Their design should therefore be both neutral and restrained to leave room for the user's self-expression. So there, I'll actually, not fully agree with Braun because art, good art belongs to the viewer, right? As soon as you show it to somebody, it doesn't belong to you as an artist anymore. It's how they perceive it. But good design is similar in that way, where it's open to the user's interpretation. You just have to think a little bit ahead for their different use cases, which we'll talk about later, and have them kind of predict how they will use it, right? And it has to get out of the way of the actual use case. Right? Good design is honest. It does not make a product more innovative, powerful, or valuable than it really is. It does not attempt to manipulate the consumer with promises that cannot be kept. Right? And satisfaction, customer satisfaction, is the delta between their expectations and their experience. Right? So if you promise a really good experience and you deliver on it, the customer is going to be very happy with your product. Whether it's a chair, a laptop, piece of software, or anything, or even a service. Right? But if you overpromise and you underdeliver, or you deliver something completely different, that feeling, that delta, the difference between the two, that's what the customer is going to be unhappy with. Right? So good design is long-lasting. It avoids being fashionable and therefore never appears antiquated. Unlike fashionable design, it lasts many years, even in today's throwaway society. He said today's throwaway society, he wrote this in the early 80s. Right? It's gotten to be a little bit more throwaway. And this design here of this razor, I mean, there are razors still sold that look just like this. Right? Talk about classic design. Good design is thorough. Nothing must be arbitrary or left to chance. Care and accuracy in the design process show respect towards the consumer. This is something we're going to really particularly focus on today. The use cases, right? Want to understand their environment, how they're going to use it, what's inside their head, etc. Good design is environmentally friendly. Design makes an important contribution to the preservation of the environment. It conserves resources and minimizes physical and visual pollution throughout the life cycle of the product. Right? Especially in physical products, especially in industrial design, you have something that will be around for years. Right? Obviously, there are ways to kind of create art and create something that's kind of huge physically and does a small purpose, but usually good products don't take more space, don't take more materials, don't take more than they need, right? And that leads to the final one, which is good design is as little design as possible. Right? Less but better because it concentrates on the essential aspects and the products are not burdened with non-essentials. Back to purity, back to simplicity. This, these 10 principles of good design describe every single Apple product. Right? There's a reason they're successful. It's all Johnny Ives doing. He's a big Braun fan. He knows his design school, and he follows the rules. Right? Every product lives according to this mission. Right? And obviously there are other companies that do this as well. But obviously everybody's favorite example is Apple of simplicity and usability.